Yeah.
It
used to be working.
Oh.
The viewing audience is gonna be confused.
Doug wants to be
Everyone
Sarah.
on seven?
Yeah.
Okay, seven?
It's good to be Sarah.
It is good to be Sarah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'd like to welcome all of our guests tonight. It's always nice to have our guests present. And I will have the clerk call the roll.
Gilbert,
Here.
Brockmeyer, there, Campbell, here, Teresa, Downey,
Here.
Tiger, here, Oswald,
Here.
Tim. 2 absent.
Okay,
6 present.
6 present. Correspondence, we have none. Public comment, any comment?
Yeah.
Any public comment? Okay, Jeff, do you want to do this publicly?
Yes,
Or do you want to go
want
into executive session?
I want it right here and open.
You want it here in the, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I went through my personal file and I didn't find my recent employee evaluation. And I'd like to have a copy signed by Sarah. I don't know where it's at. And I got this paper in this, my personal file I didn't sign that was put in my file. That shouldn't be in there. I wanna know how come somebody can put something in my file. Right here.
I can't read that.
You wanna see it?
Just read it.
Yeah, just
Read
read
it.
it, just read it.
Read it.
Once we go back to Jeff, let Jeff read it.
Yeah.
Says this is served a verbal for 2 different items on the same morning, one being the pre-chlorine was empty and cannot be, and the other being blue tank and it was overflowing. But of these things placed within 5 minutes of shift change. This will be placed in your file, 9/24/14. I did not sign that and I did not agree, none of that.
Who put it in your file?
That's there.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
you don't
wanted
have
to-
to sign, Jeff. If somebody wants to give you a warning, they can't make you sign. A lot of times people refuse to sign. The only reason for a signature is your acknowledgement that you received it. But nobody can make you sign, and it doesn't take you signing it to make it valid. Now, I'm not saying that, other than that, I don't know what that is, and Sarah's not here tonight. I mean, we'll check with him, and if in his opinion, he did it, and that was a warning to you, I'm sure it would probably stick unless his council wants to take it out. But, you know, we'll check on it. I don't know anything about it.
Well, the thing with the union's got 2 years, it's supposed to be removed from my file. It's been 3 years now.
If it's supposed to be removed from your, when's it dated?
This is from 14.
Okay. We'll go over everything. If it's supposed to be removed, I can tell you it'll get removed.
Jeff, when was your last day here?
July 31st.
So you're no longer an employee?
No. So can I get all my personal files all back, or how's that
You have
work?
a copy, don't you?
You can't put, sorry.
Go ahead.
You can have the file, you can have copies of anything you want out of it, and I told Carla to give you copies of anything you wanted. I think she probably.
That's what he has to.
Can I ask why this matters? You've retired from the city.
Well, I'm looking for a job and I wanna show that my employer this stuff.
They don't,
That's between him and them.
Yeah, I wanna show them.
why?
We don't, if they call and ask for a reference, we don't give anything like that. You can't give any references like that. All we can say is your dates of employment, and so there would be no reason for us to say anything about, I mean, we can't do that. We can't say anything about reprimands or warnings or anything else. We can give your date of service, and we can give, whether or not you're eligible for a rehire or not. That's all we give, so I don't know why that matters.
I mean, it's junk as far as I'm concerned,
But you're retired, right? And you no longer work here.
you know. but I don't.
The whole point of it is if Mr. Hasara put it in there, unless he wants then I'm sure the city's gonna back him up probably, okay? But if it shouldn't be in there, and if it should be removed because of the time effect, we'll make sure it gets out of there, okay?
That's good.
Sarah?
Well, did you say that it was September of 2014?
14.
Well, you retired in July, so probably nobody's looking in your file for taking things out of it in September, which is probably what's happened there. I mean, once you go, I assume people aren't checking their
No,
file.
we're not looking at his file anymore.
So you're,
That says a
that's
verbal
probably
warning.
why it wasn't taken out after 3
Do you know
years.
which one he's talking about?
I don't. I mean, Tim hands me something to put in his file, but it doesn't matter, nobody ever sees that. I
Why
can't,
don't you get a
I can't
copy,
give that
make
to
sure
a
I get
potential
a copy of
employer.
that, and I know what I deal with the right one for you.
Okay, I'll just give it to you now.
Okay.
I made long copies.
Anything else you,
I guess that's it.
thank you, Jeff. Okay, Matt?
Had a couple of questions for this body tonight. Did the Illinois Attorney General just render a determination saying that the city council violated the Open Meetings Act when a majority of the quorum attended and deliberated during regional water meeting?
Sure did.
Okay. Any comment on that? Just, it is what it is?
It is what it is.
I have a comment on that,
Okay.
if it's okay.
Go ahead.
I know we've discussed at length the, the situation with the regional water, basically forming into a nonprofit. And I'm sure there'll be questions about that, which we're still trying to get, things answered, and yes, we have to answer some vital questions about each entity's ability to do that, that's all true, and we're working on that. But I would ask that, if the city still wants to move forward with this entity, that other people also respect that they have asked me to go. We can't have a majority of a quorum at the meetings, or I'm not gonna be able to participate in the meeting, which will waste the time of, waste my time, and it wastes the time of every other person who went to the meeting in Driscoll. So I'm asking that if you wanna pursue this, and you wanna respect other people's time, and you respect what you as a council are trying to do, I'm asking that people who would create a quorum not attend. I know that sounds,
Cindy, we're gonna
bad,
post a
but-
notice of the meeting and we'll be fine.
I'm just saying,
We'll be fine.
I have a question. Yes.
Well, I asked the mayor this, and she really couldn't explain it either. I'd like to know why. Okay, Cindy was there because she's our representative. The mayor is our mayor, and I would assume that she would like to know what's going on. So, to me, I was confused on why it is filed against the mayor. Why isn't it filed against Beth Toon as the third person there in violation? Because, I mean, she's not the representative for the council.
It's not because she's there, it's because she participated. There's a difference.
Okay, but so why isn't she the one that it's brought against? Why isn't she the third person? I mean, I would rather see in any forum or anything where there's, this is our water situation, it's a big deal. So Cindy's our representative that we all agreed would be. The mayor is the mayor, and I think the mayor should be involved and informed on every meeting. So you've got an alderperson going who chose on their own to speak and say something. So to me, she's the one why isn't it against? Can you answer that?
Yes, I
Rick?
can,
Why
Jody, it
isn't
doesn't matter. The city's a city, okay?
I know, but why
I
is it
do
against
not,
the
well,
mayor?
forget about it. If the city's a city, I do not agree with the interpretation of the Attorney General's office. That's just my opinion, and I told that to the newspaper. These people that went there, the mayor did not participate in the meeting. I'm sure that if you ended up in court on it, and once again, this is just my opinion, she hands a piece of paper to Sherry, and she answers a question that somebody answers her. But be that as it may, if we're gonna play these games, that's fine. We're gonna post a notice of every meeting that you're gonna have, that way the Open Meetings Act will be abided by, and we'll go forward. It's done, you know, whether we agree with it or not. The Attorney General's office, whoever they've got working up there, at minimum wage on that office that renders these opinions, that's their opinion, and they told us what to do to remedy the situation, and that was to publicize the minutes that occurred up there, which we have. They've not been approved yet. Once those minutes of the last meeting have been approved, then we'll make them public like we've been requested to do, and that's it for now, and we'll go forward.
So we need to ask the other members of the council that might attend.
No.
Please, no. I
No,
said
we
no.
don't,
No,
Jody.
let me finish. You need to ask them not to participate.
No, Jody.
No, we'll be fine.
We're gonna
now.
post the notice of every meeting, and if we post the meeting, all of you can go and participate
And talk.
and talk. Yes, ma'am. We're gonna post the meeting. Whoever scheduled the meeting was not of the opinion that the city was involved as it was determined it was, okay? And if you see the tape, it's very unclear on anything, but that's beside the point too. A ruling's been made by the AG's office. And it is what it is. We'll abide by it, we'll do what they say. We're gonna post notices of all meetings out here, 48 hours in advance, and then it's an open meeting. Anybody can go and discuss, no problem.
And my point in what I said earlier is not because I don't want anybody to come. It's,
No, I know.
the point is, if you wanna send somebody as a representative, then we can have all the discussions we need to have here, so that we don't have to have them all there.
I agree.
So, I mean, I'm not saying don't come, I'm saying, if we're gonna send a representative, send a representative. We don't need to bring all of our questions to the meeting in Jerseyville. That was my only point about that.
I agree.
Okay, Kim?
I agree with both of you, all of you, but as a tax-paying citizen, whether I am an alderman or not, I have the right to attend a water meeting that's gonna affect my family's future. And nobody's gonna tell me not to go and not to ask questions.
I don't think it's your
I don't think, we're not saying that, Kim.
You
I
said
just,
don't go, don't ask questions.
no, I just said, is that what we should say? What I'm saying is,
Making it too complicated, Jody. We're gonna post a notice and everybody can go and ask whatever they wanna do, you know.
no, I was
Let
just
the
trying to clear
conscience
the
be your
air.
guide.
I was just trying to clear the air so
Well,
that we all knew.
I tried to clear the air a month ago, right, wrong, or indifferent. This council voted to go a certain way, and whether it's the right way or the wrong way, everyone here owes it to everybody else up here to see it through. That's my opinion.
Right, but I don't every time wanna get and be in violation of.
We're not gonna be in violation, because we know that we're gonna post it from now on.
Okay, Matt, is there any other questions?
I just had a question, how many FOIL lawsuits is the city involved in right now?
Well, I don't know. Go check the courthouse.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or public comment?
Mayor, before you go any further, do you want to approve of the minutes?
Oh, why should we? We might be in violation, right? It might be in violation. Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Okay. Motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Heidert, that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no, and the motion carries. Now we'll go down to no other comments. If not, then we'll go to the resolution on the Amtrak lease. Okay, I'll turn that over to
I have
our
the
attorney.
Amtrak lease here, which maybe we can finally bring up.
Nothing?
This is the same Amtrak lease agreement that has been passed around before. And I've just gotten things in line with the insurance company this last day or two, so the last finalized copy has not been passed out, but it's identical to everything that's been given to the finance committee. It's been identical to everything, the last one that was passed out to everyone, with the exception of some typographical errors, which have all been fixed up and corrected. There's an indemnity clause in there by Amtrak, and I think it was in the last agreement, a few words may have been changed, but this is, if there's been any change whatsoever from what everybody else has seen, this is it. This is the final agreed upon with their legal department. We'll discuss this from time to time, but here's what it says on liability. Amtrak shall indemnify, defend, and hold harmless lessor, which is the city of Carlinville, from and against any and all liabilities, loss, damage, expense, costs, including without limitation costs and fees of litigation, due to bodily injury, including death to any person, or loss or damage, including loss of use to any property, to the extent arising out of or in any way connected with any act or omission of Amtrak and its employees, passengers, contractors, and invitees relating to the use of the leased property by Amtrak under the terms of this lease agreement. So that's the indemnity that Amtrak has agreed to, and it's pretty well all encompassing. So I prepared a resolution with the attached agreement for the council to consider tonight if it's your pleasure, and it basically says, be it resolved, etc. It is hereby determined to be in the best interest of the city of Carlinville for it to enter into a lease agreement with National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak, for the operation of the railway station and platforms. Section 2. The proposed agreement between National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak, and the city of Carlinville for the lease of the railway station and platforms, a copy of which is attached hereto, is approved, and the appropriate city officials are authorized to enter into and execute said agreement on behalf of the city of Carlinville. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval as required by law. This resolution, even though I put it on the agenda at the end of last week, it was just actually prepared this morning because I had telephone discussions with our insurance agent on Friday, and I actually had another telephone conversation with him today and met with him today about 4:30. So the insurances are coming into place, and before that were to happen, we were not ready for this. But the only urgency on this is if we pass it and sign it and send it back to Amtrak and they sign it, then the station can be open. So, it's your pleasure.
Is there any questions on the resolution? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read by our attorney. Okay, the motion has been made by Alderman Heiner, second by Alderman Downey, that we approve the resolution as read by our attorney to go ahead and send this resolution, the final resolution, back to Amtrak for their approval, so the station can therefore be open. Is there any questions on this? Let me get over here. Okay, all right, if there's none, then the clerk will call the roll.
Oswald?
Aye.
Haggard?
Yes.
Campbell?
Aye.
Brockmeyer?
Yes.
Bilbrook?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried, 6-0, and we'll sign off on that resolution this evening. Okay, next will be, the city council cookout dates for 2018, and those are in the packets, so that everyone can see, when the square, is going to be utilized. And, if there's not any questions, we'll just put that on file, okay? Next on that, will be the IDNR purchase.
A couple months back, Bob Caveney out here gave me the name of an individual with IDNR, the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. And even though this is, he said call them and talk to them, and I called this lady and talked to her, and she's involved with the purchase of lands for the state. And they go in, and it's lengthy process. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but they go in and where there's good, areas for, well, wildlife and everything else that goes with it, natural resources, they go in and purchase a property when funds are available. And what happens is, if you're interested in this, then, which we, the city, Bob thought the city may or may not be interested in, selling, conveying to the state, all of our timber ground we got out there, the lakes and everything. And they get interested in actually purchasing the lakes. And what happens is, and there's several situations, they're used to dealing with lakes that provide water to municipalities or other places. So, I mean, it's something where you would not lose your source of water. I mean, they're all contractually written up, et cetera. But if the city would be interested in inquiring of them, if they are interested, what they'll do is they'll send their people out, they'll look everything over. Eventually, they get it appraised and make a proposal to the city, purchasing part or all of a specific area. And then it's managed under the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, wildlife management, et cetera. So, if this is something the city would be interested in, it doesn't cost anything at all other than them to go out and look. And, you know, if we contacted them and said, hey, we'd be interested in letting you look at our properties, I mean, it might be a year or two from now before we hear back from them. If the council would like for me to have them look it over and take a gander, I'll be glad to call her and tell her to have at it. And if not, so be it.
What's that due to the cabin leases and all the camping and all that? Would we have to pay back the leases and all that if we to sell it? All the cabins and all that?
Well, number one, those people have it leased, and we can't terminate it. So if they bought it, they would buy. If we included that in it, which if, I mean, in my opinion, if you're gonna include it, you might as well include the whole schmear. There's no use piecemealing it. If they purchased it, they would purchase it subject to those leases. So they'd be obligated on those leases the same as we were. They may or may not renew them when the time comes, but they'd be obligated on the existing lease agreements.
I think it's something we should look into.
It'd be a chunk of money for the city.
Well, then, we're not gonna lose anything if we have them look into the properties we're going off. We
Not
won't lose
whatsoever.
anything.
Not the way well, no, we're not signing anything,
Right.
so no.
Right. So does anybody else feel the way I do, or? Well, it may be a while before they even come back.
Oh, it'll be a long
It'll be a
while.
long
You gotta have
Something
money
thinking
available. I mean,
for-
it may be 10 years before they finally got back with the proposal, who knows?
Oh, I thought it was like soon.
No, like, they've gotta go out and evaluate everything.
Well,
They've
that's-
gotta determine whether it meets their needs and whether it comes under the criteria that they're looking for. And then when they had the funds available, now that could be a
But
big thing with the state
We have to
available.
give them permission to go look at it.
Well, yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
we give them that, and then eventually, if they're really interested, if they're everything meets their criteria, and it's something they'd be interested in, then they'd go out and obtain an appraisal, is my understanding of what the land would be worth. And once they obtain an appraisal and the funds are available, then we'd probably hear back from them. And that, you know, for where we're going with it, that may be a year, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, probably.
Kim?
Can we put the decision on this off to the next meeting, or we have time for this to soak in?
Whatever you wanna do. If you decide something tonight, it's just go look at it. You could call them up, when they come back and say, we'll give you so much money for it, you don't even have to do it. We're not signing anything.
Cindy?
I guess I just would wonder how would the usage change? Obviously, we wouldn't be using the water there forever, but is the city just, this is news to me, so is there a
Probably,
concern about how we would maintain the property once we no longer
We wouldn't have
have
to
water
maintain it.
revenue? Is that the issue?
No, it'd probably be something like Beaver Dam State Park, I don't know.
But
But
nobody's.
whatever we did with them contractually, our rights to water, et cetera, would be preserved as long as we saw fit.
I understand that, but the land usage, we would not, right, as far as,
That's right, we'd be there to do what they want to, but it's wildlife management, like I said, Beaver Dam, I don't know how many acres they own over there. It'd be something like that, it'd be state-owned, IDNR.
is there something that they can show us that shows what those land usages are eventually? I'm just
Eventually.
concerned about what, once you follow through with something like that, what do they do with it? What is in that realm of possibility?
When
I
they
would
get,
like to know that.
my suggestion would be let them go do their look-see, and when if they're interested, then have them come back, and then it's too early to ask them everything. They may not even be interested in it, so why waste your time and our time? But when they get to the point that, yes, we're interested in it, that's when you bring them in here and set them at the table and ask them all the questions we wanna ask them.
I get that, I
Definitely,
just don't know if
definitely.
I don't know if I got, the other part of that is, are we interested in what they would be doing with it and things like that? That's the only thing I don't understand, is what the land use possibilities would be and what that might look like. I don't even know what those programs, what
You know, we
does this
could do
cost?
it, maybe we'll get somebody come and give us a bill to the council about it. I could request that, it's whatever you folks wanna do with it.
I think it's something we should get the information on at least. I mean, it's not like we're giving them anything, and it's like you said, it could take years down the road, but at least we would find out what they're talking about.
I mean, have somebody come to the council first?
Sure.
I think that's a good idea.
Sarah?
I think it's a good idea to look into it. It might turn out they have more money to put on it than we have. I mean, I'm serious. We're not putting a lot of
Let's
money
catch
into
22.
They just closed the
Yes,
state
22.
parks for last year because they have no money left.
I don't know. They've got Beaver Dam open. I don't know. It may be a positive thing.
I think it's worth asking for some information about the programs and what the land usages are, but I also think it's worth our thought of turning over assets. I don't know about that, so that's just my opinion.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and.
I'll call them, see if they'll send somebody down
See if they
sometime.
can send someone down and,
Never do it right away, might be next year, next spring, but I'll tell them
Maybe a
we're
while.
interested in talking to someone. Fair enough?
is that good?
General
Is that
consensus?
Everybody, we'll see, have them take a look, have them come in. All right. Is there any other business to come before the council? Anyone else? Okay.
Executive session or no? Is that, you're still doing that?
We're not gonna go into,
Okay.
nope.
Make a motion to adjourn, Mayor.
Okay, motion has been made by Alderman Downey, second by Alderman Hammond, that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.